Okay, right. We're all set to get this started. All right. Reset the volume. Hello, everyone. We're all set, and we are waiting for a friend to join. Hello, 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 hello. How are you all today? Okay. Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, perfect.
How are you today?
I'm good. Alhamdulillah. How are you?
I'm fine. Okay, so I want you to first introduce yourself and just background about yourself, and then we can take it from there. Is that okay with you?
Sure. My name is Fariha, and I grew up in Houston, Texas. I'm originally Bengali. Um, and yeah, I'm studying phlebotomy now, and hopefully my future goal is to become a psychologist, inshallah. So,
And I saw your artwork. Oh my goodness, it is amazing.
oh, thank you so much.
You,
Yeah, art is my
I just,
passion for sure.
oh my God, it is so beautiful. I love your photography and I love your artwork. Amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. Actually, I did an art show with two of my friends recently, and yeah, art has always
Okay,
been just so like therapeutic and helpful for me. So,
I'm so bad at art. I am so bad. So when I see artists like you, I'm in awe. Like really.
oh, thank you so much.
So let's start today. I wanted you to share your journey uh, about domestic violence, whatever you've known through people, or if you've experienced it yourself. Uh, so just yeah, enlighten us about it.
Um, I think I can talk about my personal experience because before my personal experience, I didn't know much about domestic violence, to be honest. And I didn't even know much about uh, the emotional abuse that happens before that, because it
Mm-hmm.
takes a while to get to domestic violence. Um,
Right.
and so for me, I think it was just like I had a very typical, I guess, mindset about like getting married, like, and seeing my sisters and them, we turn 22 or 23 or whatever, and my parents started looking for us.
Right.
And
Right.
so, I got married and I was happy too. It wasn't like forced or like super arranged or anything. But again, I never
Okay.
had that. It was arranged, but it was like I got to talk to the person, but I never
Okay.
had any, um, because we come from a religious background, like I never had spoken to, I didn't have many male friends or anything like that. So I didn't really know what to look
Right.
out for. Um, and again, we
Right.
don't really talk about stuff like that either. What are the signs you should look out for? Um, anything like
Right.
that. So I was just like, okay, so
Parents,
I got married.
parents don't discuss it with, and our elder siblings don't discuss it with us since
No,
they're already married. So
yeah,
we don't know. We just hear and see, but we don't know actually how
no,
we are to interact with men or our husbands
yeah,
because it's very limited.
yeah,
Our
yeah.
exposure is really limited. So that's why I think we struggle more because it's just like throwing somebody in the water and like, there you go, learn to swim yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's
Mhm.
kind of how, like, and even if you come up with issues, it's like at that point you're already married, so then it's like, well,
Right.
you shouldn't talk about your issues, your marital issues with anybody. So, it is a difficult thing to navigate. Um, but for
Mm-hmm.
me, I got married, I was 22 years old, and
Okay.
and I think from the beginning there were red flags, but I didn't know
Mm.
that there were red flags. And then
Right.
after I got married, it was a slow build up of emotional abuse, isolation,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of like breaking down your self-esteem. Because I remember
So
before
when you said
marriage.
isolation, I'm sorry to cut you, but when you said
Okay.
isolation, does that mean that he stopped you from meeting your family or something like that?
Well, because he was living somewhere else and I went to live with him, but
Mm-hmm.
isolation also was like even where I moved, I couldn't really make new friends. I could talk to my
Okay.
siblings maybe on the phone and stuff, but I wasn't living with my family close by. But even if I talked to my
Uh-huh.
family on the phone, it was always there was some supervision or there was always some
Okay.
comment, and I didn't feel like I
Okay.
could be myself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right,
but yeah,
right.
I think the biggest thing was that I couldn't find a community. I couldn't find my own friends, no matter where I
Mm-hmm.
went. So,
Right. Mm-hmm. So, so, so how long did it take you to actually start to understand that, something is wrong or this is not working? Or were you all that time really blaming yourself?
um, I think there was a lot of, blaming myself, but at the same time, I was very lucky that I had uh, my family was supportive of me because I think they
Okay.
saw me growing up. They knew what kind of person I was, and they just saw that I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't happy. My sister says that, she said that you just kind of lost your spark. You became like kind of dead in your eyes and everything. Like you just
Okay.
lost your voice and everything. So they knew that I was
Mm-hmm.
struggling, and so Alhamdulillah that they told me that I could do something about it. But it was always me that wanted to try, I and like I was also the kind of person I was scared to research anything. Like now I would do research and stuff about like narcissistic abuse and domestic violence and just toxic relationships and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But back then I knew something was wrong, something was horribly wrong, I knew, but whenever I looked at those things, I almost got so scared
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like everything matches and it scared me so bad. So I would like kind of be in denial. But it took me, I think, 3 years when I finally, because before that, I think we were in a lot of stress in the beginning of a marriage
Mm-hmm.
life. You're just settling in and all that. So I thought, okay, everyone's struggles in the beginning, you have to kind of give it some
Right.
time and everything. But I think I realized when we
Mm-hmm.
were finally settled, and this is the time when everything should be kind of blossoming in your life, and I saw it's getting worse, and I saw that this person was basically discarding me. Like I think every few months, if the whole cycle of abuse is like you walk on eggshells, and so I was
Right.
constantly walking on eggshells, and every time something made him upset, it was, well, go back to your family, like go away, go stay a couple of months in your house in
Oh, okay.
Houston and stuff. And so I felt
Okay.
this isn't a marriage life. Like I was always so constantly scared of being abandoned. So
Right.
at one point, I think, alhamdulillah, with my family's support, and also there were moments when I had, like, there were many moments in my marriage where I had moments of clarity where I was like, this is so wrong. But again, I would like go into, like, I would have that moment and then I would go into denial again and think, okay, no, we're gonna fix it. We're gonna try to work on it harder and stuff. But then at one point, I think I made lots of dua. I was like, I'm having this moment of clarity that this is a, a person who's clearly oppressing me. So
Mm-hmm.
I said, I just asked Allah. Like honestly, that's the one thing that I can't explain it to a lot of people, but that is the honest truth of what helped me because I made dua that, Allah hears the dua of the one who is oppressed. So if I had been oppressed,
Right.
I said, Allah, just save me. And after I said
Right.
that, like I kid you not, like step by step, things just happened and I got out of that marriage. Like it's a miracle for me. But yeah.
Yeah, I can hear when you're saying and telling your story that is making you shake and it's making you emotional, and that shows the trauma you've been through. And even
Yeah.
though it's over, it's still left a very big wound or a scar. Open it.
Yeah.
It just makes you bleed again because I've heard so many stories and I've read so much about it. uh, and it's shocking because I didn't know about all that too, and it was just randomly one day out of boredom I
Mm-hmm.
wrote on my phone about what is verbal abuse. And then
Mm-hmm.
millions of things came out, like
Yeah.
narcissism. I didn't even know that word existed.
Yeah.
Gaslighting,
Mm-hmm.
financial abuse, and control freaks. I don't know. And I was like, my mind was like, I thought I was going to go insane because there was so
Mm-hmm.
much information for
Yeah.
me out there in just because we never think like that. We think verbal abuse, oh, he just abuses you, right? That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's what we think is verbal abuse. But nobody actually knows that there's so many things that come in that category that you're just shocked when you actually Google it out. That geez,
Yeah.
this is, and I've spoken to so many people, and I'm just shocked that so many people on one side don't know about it, and those people are basically Muslims. And there is another side that knows so much about it. It's a totally
Mm-hmm.
different world for
Yeah.
them and their story and their journey. So, so what was that? What was the issue? Was he just verbally abusing you, or was he a narcissist, or was he bipolar? What was his issue?
I've come to the conclusion that he was definitely narcissist. Actually,
Okay,
after I got out of my marriage, like after I was divorced, I went to therapy because
okay.
I felt it was very necessary because I was so hurt and I felt there was so much trauma that I needed help to process all of that. And
Mm,
I think also I needed to know what he was because I wasn't for sure. Because when you live with someone and you consider this person your husband or, there's someone important to you, you want to see all the good sides of
mm-hmm,
them. You want to see,
mm-hmm,
and then you remember the times they were maybe caring or they were,
mm-hmm,
positive. And so all these things, it's so confusing to the person who went through that, that I needed like a third
mm-hmm.
person to kind of help me figure out what it was.
Right,
So that helped me a
right,
lot. And I know like there's a stigma probably like in our culture and stuff about therapy, but
right. There
for
is, there is.
me, it helped me a lot because I didn't go for a long time. But the 1 or 2 months
Mm-hmm,
that I went, I just needed that time because I had someone who I felt was trustworthy, who had knowledge about
mm-hmm.
this to say, yes, you were in a very abusive relationship.
And,
Because,
and and then also not judge you, right?
yeah, and not judge you and to admit that you were in an abusive relationship because I feel like sometimes people have a hard time to even admit, especially in our culture, they don't want to say, yes, you were abused unless they see like bruises and you're almost, like they need to see something physically to even admit that you went through a trauma. Um,
Mm-hmm,
but for me, I would say that he was very controlling. So
mm-hmm.
anything from what I can wear, what I can eat, where I can go. Um, if I
Is the hijab
exchange,
because of him, or were you doing it before him?
what was that?
Was your hijab because of him, or you were doing before you got
Oh
married
no,
to him?
from long time. Like I've been doing hijab for a long time, alhamdulillah, and like
Okay,
and my parents never also forced me and like I got a lot of independence. I think like my parents were also
okay,
very strict, but I got a lot of freedom as well. Like, I went to college, I drove, I, did my things and
correct,
all of
right,
that.
right.
But after getting married, my school stopped as well. I couldn't finish my
Okay,
school. And he
oh,
had promised that, once we settle and stuff, he will let me go to school and all of that.
mm-hmm,
But things like, oh, don't wear that color or that's not doesn't look proper, doesn't look ladylike or whatever, all of these things. But even things like what I can eat, you know, don't gain weight
mm-hmm.
from this, and I'm not like
Okay,
all of these things, and oh, you should exercise and this and this. Like even if you're sick, can make you get up and exercise, things like that.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
I would say sometimes that, sometimes I would like visibly I would get dizzy or something, and there would be
Right,
comments made like, but how do all the other women do it then? How are they going to work and doing
mm-hmm,
all this? You're, so weak. So there's also that comparison. And I felt this as soon as I
mm-hmm.
got married. There was Like from the
Okay.
day I got married, I felt like I think before you get married, you think it's just gonna be you and your husband. But from the day I got married, I felt like it was me, my husband, and the rest of womankind. It was never secure. It was like,
Okay.
a person can make you feel so insecure about yourself.
Mm,
And
right.
he was extremely controlling and he was very like threatening. I'd always felt like my marriage was on the
Okay.
brink and it was my fault. If it broke, it was
And
because of something I
by
did.
threatening, you mean did he say, "I will divorce you"? I will divorce you. Is that what he said?
He never said the divorce word, which is the confusing part,
Mm,
because he would say, I
okay.
don't want you anymore, or you should
Ah,
go back. You should
okay.
go back and live your single life without saying the word. And so when I say, do you
Yeah,
mean
heard,
divorce?
I've heard
You
people.
know?
Right.
And so when I would say, I'd
Right.
be like, why do you always bring up divorce? And I was like, that's what you mean? So
Right.
these are the kind of mind games that kind of mess you up, where
Yeah.
I remember telling my sister, I think I'm going crazy. Um, like
Right.
I literally thought I was going crazy. Um,
And
because
like, were
everything
you
was so
there that day when
confusing.
we were with Dr. Annie? Were you in that
I was
session?
there for the ending part. I didn't get to see the whole thing.
Well, the internet was really bad that day, and that's what she said. Like you're saying, she said that that's what they do. That they play this mind game where you are basically confused, and you keep on doubting yourself,
Yeah,
and in that self doubt, you just keep on going on. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe,
yeah,
and that was like so like I didn't even know that that's how they do it. I mean, it was just shocking. And the other thing that she said was where a lot of women feel they don't want to leave because that makes them weak or
hmm,
make them look weak. But she said that's not the case. You need to understand you're very strong because what you're dealing with, somebody like that can't even come out of a bed because it's so much traumatizing every day. So
yeah,
I thought that was very powerful. Her words were very powerful for women who were listening that day because we had a lot of viewers. I don't have that many viewers today. I wish people would have joined in, but that it and I got an inbox of so many women saying thank you for doing this session and this and I didn't know, and I felt like wow, there is so much on the internet, on Instagram. I mean, it's so much.
hmm,
You can go crazy just reading it,
hmm,
and yet people don't know about it.
yeah,
They're just messaging and saying, I didn't know. You know what? Oh, I just realizing maybe my husband is like this, and I need to go and check, and I need to go look up this word. And I was, wow, you know,
yeah,
how there's so much out there, but it seems that it's not enough.
yeah. And I think another big thing is that, especially in as Muslim women, we
Mm-hmm.
we have like we're afraid to look into other sources. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's why, like for me, I went to a therapist that wasn't Muslim. I had talked to sheikhs, and I found they could tell me everything from an Islamic point of view, but they couldn't tell me things from an emotional point of view. And so I needed to
Mm-hmm.
go, like, I think we have to be smart about how we heal as well, because I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you can heal from, there's so many aspects of healing. There's the spiritual healing, there's the emotional
Right.
healing, there's even physical healing. There's so much stuff you have to heal. So you have to go to each different place. You're not going to go to a regular doctor to learn about,
Okay.
they're going to help you physically. They're not going to help you emotionally or spiritually. So you have to go wherever you can to get the help. And it's still a lot of work, and it's hard. Like, I think um, my case was very visible because uh,
Mm-hmm.
even people could see, like, if I went out with friends or even if I invited friends over, it was very visible the way he was with me.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I think that's why, like, I had, uh, like, when I came to visit my family, they would notice things, and even my family friends would, like, notice something. But, out of politeness, they wouldn't say stuff, but they would raise concern to my parents and stuff. So all of that kind of, like, I guess it helps, but at the end of the day, the decision had to come from myself. Um, because you're the one who's in that
What was
situation.
the
You're the one.
breaking point? When was it that you were like one day decided that it's it? I'm
It was it was this one day when everything seemed fine. Like, because there had been a lot of trauma stuff, and I was like making excuses, and I thought, okay, it's because of this, it's because of that. But then there was a point, everything should have been peaceful. You know what I mean? Like our lives were settling in, nothing was wrong that I could point a
mm,
finger on and be like, there's something horrible in our marriage, you know? But so
right, I
everything's
get you.
really calm, everything's fine. And one day he just blows up on me because I sent a text to this group of sisters, like a group of girls, and I asked for a ride. And he said, why did you send it without showing me first? Like, you're so disrespectful. Like, I laugh now, but you know, that's how it was. So he was like, you don't
Uh,
respect me anymore, all these things. And so I was very quiet that day. And you know, he was very angry. And then I remember he sat me down and he asked me if I want to continue this marriage or not. And I was like, over that? Like in my head, I was like, wow, over this? You want to ask me if I, you know, if I want to continue this marriage or not? So usually I would try to defend myself, but this time I don't know what it was in me. I was like, I'm just gonna stay silent because I knew whenever I try to defend myself, it's used against me.
backfire. That's what
It's
Dr.
used
Henry said.
against me.
You can't confront
So
them.
yeah. So I was like, I'm not going to give him any power because if I say anything, he can twist that
Hmm.
and use it however he wants. So if I don't say
And that's
anything,
and
then
that's what they live on. You
yeah,
when you react,
yeah,
that's where all
yeah,
the powerful. Oh, I can control her now because she's reacting. So that day when you became
exactly.
silent, I think that was an eye opening for him too. I guess he must have been like, oh, it's not working,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And
Because yeah,
did he get physical with you, or just it was just no physical abuse involved?
for me, the physical abuse was always like heavily backed up with emotional abuse. So it was always during a very bad fight, a lot of like if there was something that we were arguing about, and if I didn't say sorry, he would
Mm.
kind of force me to say sorry by hurting me. But it wasn't in a way where I
Oh,
could show anybody here are the bruises and here are the times he beat me.
oh. Was
It
it
was
like
very
just pushing or
strategic.
coming on your face?
No, it was like twisting.
Oh my gosh.
It was like twisting my arms, or you know, like it wasn't like it was in a way where it was enough to hurt me, but it was like you couldn't tell anybody about, like, you know, he wouldn't be beating me, but he
So they're
wouldn't hurt
that
me.
smart.
Smart and scary.
Oh yeah. Oh my
It was very
goodness.
scary
That's so.
because and then I questioned. I was like, wait, is this physical abuse? Because if someone straight up smacked me, I would know, hey, that's abuse. Like you can't do that. But if I was like already
Right.
arguing, and obviously the thing with narcissists and stuff, they will get you to a point where again you react, and you know, as a
Mm-hmm.
good girl, you don't want to react so bad. And then, you know, you don't want to react so bad. And so when they punish you by hurting you and telling you to calm down, you feel like that's justified.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really weird psychological game, but it's like, wow, I really went too far. That's why he had to do that. Something like that. So it was like that happened a
And
couple of times, but yeah,
you endure that for 3 years,
yeah,
3 non-stop years, and you are you glad that you don't have any kids with them, or do you have kids with him?
I don't. This is another, I
That,
feel like a miracle of my life. I actually had gotten pregnant and I had a miscarriage.
okay,
And at that
okay.
time, you know, I never doubted that, you know, I was never angry about it. I just knew there's some good in it. You know, you say there's some khair in it, there's some good in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew, I trusted Allah for sure that there's some good in it, even though it was so painful for me. But I remember afterwards when I would want kids, he would say, "You're trying to trap me." And I would say, "I'm your wife. I'm not your random girl. I'm not trying to trap you. You're already married to me." You
Right,
know?
right.
So all these things, and I thought, why can't I have like, you know? mm, why can't I have children with this person? Or like, why is it not happening? Like at one point, all the financial stress and all those things were gone, and I thought, okay, now's the right time, inshallah, to have a family. And I really
Mm.
wanted that. But Alhamdulillah, I am glad. I am, no matter how painful it was or whatever, I know that that experience was good for me because I think I realize now what a man should be like and how much of a blessing it was that I got out of that. So it's less painful for me now looking
So
back.
that it was awakening for you, right?
Yeah, yeah. They say hindsight is 2020. It really is. I mean, it really is so painful and so hard when you go through it, but when you're out of it and you look back on things, it's like, subhanAllah, it's amazing.
Yeah, and I don't want to talk more because when I hear you, I want to cry for what you've been through. I want to hug you and say sorry
Oh,
and
thank
all
you.
that because listening to it is just, I don't know, 3 years and all that. I'll just share a short story. I met this girl here in Pakistan. Um, they had just come to see my mom. She was my mom's friend's daughter, and um, and I don't know how the topic came up, and she said, "No, this is my second marriage." And I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "So what happened to your first marriage, if you don't mind me asking?" And she was like, "He was a narcissist." And I was like, "Oh, you know that word? Because I just discovered it online
Mhm,
recently." And she started laughing. And she was from here, from Pakistan, and she got married and she moved. I think she went to Houston as well.
mhm,
And she said she was in the marriage for 9 months or 8 months, so it wasn't really long. And but she said that the physical abuse was brutal, and
mhm,
it was nothing before. Uh, and after that, she said the day she left the house, she said he had his foot on my neck,
oh my
and he called her brother and said, "Come take your sister, or I will kill her." Now, I don't know if they did a case on him or what happened because I just didn't want to ask, it's just very delicate. I didn't want to probe him or something. And she said, "Yeah, that's today I walked out." I think it was a year. I'm sorry, I don't remember, but it wasn't really long.
God. Mhm,
And I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that. I didn't want to ask him." She said, "No, it's okay." And she said, that was it. And she didn't say much. And now she said, like you're saying, she said, you know, it was a blessing that I did not conceive with that guy because now my second marriage, the first night I was pregnant and now I have two boys. So God was
mhm,
stopping it, or whether it was
mhm.
9 months or a year or whatever that short time. I'm so grateful that God did not get me pregnant with that man.
Yes.
And I sit and think, like you and this woman and many out there, when you get married and you discover this. I mean, if you get pregnant right away, then it's different. But if you find out within a month or 2, 3 months, uh, it, how do you really understand that you want to have a kid with this person? And now I understand because I read so much about it, and I spoke with Dr. Annie about it, and I've been reading on
Mhm.
her website and her posts that they keep you so confused that you can't understand. So that's why you're having the kid, because you don't. The thing is, you're always blaming yourself. That's what she says, and that's why you hope that the kid would change
Yes.
the the marriage.
Mhm.
And then you have another kid, and she said, "I know they have many kids, hoping that things would get wrong, but it takes a long time for you to actually identify it." So I think that it is so important that educational systems bring this up because it's just not women. I read online so many men. Oh
Mhm.
my gosh, they go
Yes.
through that.
Yep.
And you don't know that until you've experienced it. And like I said before, there is so much information already,
Yeah.
especially on Instagram. Yet people don't know. Yet
Yeah.
it takes them to get married or have a child or be in there for a year, 6 months, whatever. It's very traumatizing. So
Yeah.
I think that institutions need to really work on educating. We educate on everything, you know. Why not? Why is this topic left outside? I was really thinking today, why is this topic left out? It's become so common. I mean, if I stay on Instagram, honestly, I think everybody's a narcissist because there is so much about it. I think that
Hmm.
every person is a narcissist. So
It's
why
like a
aren't we
spectrum.
educating?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And it was very shocking for me to come across women being so abusive with men. It was shocking. And when I read those stories of men, I couldn't understand how.
Yeah.
Because the way they play their game, it's so, I don't know what word
It's
I
like a
should
thriller.
use. That,
It really is. It's like a
yeah,
thriller movie. Like you don't know until like the plot twist, and then you have
the
this
climax.
moment of realization. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so okay, let's now look at the opposite side. So you left him, and then let's talk about your healing journey. And have you met someone and all that stuff?
So, Alhamdulillah, I think I left. It's been almost a year, a full year, and I think the whole thing has just been so uh, amazing. I mean, it's a horrible thing to go through, but at the same time, it's been such a learning experience for me and healing. I think one of the first things I did when I came back, obviously, I think the best advice I could give is to sit with the grief
Mm-hmm.
because yes, this person was an evil person. Yes, this person was horrible to you, but there were times that you're going to miss at the same time because when there's
Mm-hmm.
a person who's emotionally abusing you, they also shower you with a lot of love in certain aspects. Otherwise, you wouldn't have stayed that long. Um,
Mm-hmm.
of course, everyone's situation is different, but there were times when, like, my therapist was telling me that there's like a cycle of abuse, and in that cycle, there's that honeymoon period where they keep you. They give you such love and care, and so that you trust them again. You fall in love with them again. And then again, the eggshells start, and then the act of violence happens. And right after the act of violence, and I can say from my experience, this is 100% true. Right after the act of violence, the love and care is really strong. So it's so confusing because you think no one else, I can't talk to anyone else about this, and this person is caring for me, even though this person's the one who hurt me. It's a very weird thing, but I think when I got divorced, I had to grieve the honeymoon periods, like the good times and the bad times, because
Mm-hmm.
like I wanted to talk to like the close people I trusted about all the bad things, and they would you know having a good support system is really big, like a really big part of healing. I think for me it was just my
Mm-hmm.
very close family, and so just talk. If you want to talk about it, just talk about it. If you want to write about it, just write about it. However you can get these
Anything,
feelings out
any
of you,
way, and any way, whatever tool you want to use
whatever you can. For
to
me,
really
also
heal.
I used
And
art, so it was
I
really
see your art.
helpful. Yeah.
And I want to say, you, like you said, you were very lucky. You had a lot of support, especially from your parents. I read somebody writing that the older generation doesn't really understand uh, that you're living with a narcissist because the, our older generation probably didn't even know about that. I
Yeah,
feel we don't know about it.
yeah.
So how how were your parents supported? Did they know it, or did they really trust your judgment, or was it the therapist? Uh, how did that all that help?
I think for me, definitely um, having, I think I opened up that conversation a lot more after I got divorced. Like, I told them everything. Like, I told
Okay.
them because they will not really know what you went through until you tell them. And it's really uncomfortable because you don't want to put your parents through pain, but you have to tell them, listen, this
Mm-hmm.
is what was done and done to me. So, and they're your parents. I
So
think
that
they
they
won't
know that
understand because, yeah, they won't understand if we don't really talk about it. And as uncomfortable as it is, and as much as I don't want to hurt my parents, I had to be very open about the things that were done to me so that they could understand. So that, they could
So you
understand
think
that,
that because you opened up to them, that is what helped them give their support to you more, rather
yes,
than just shutting us and just saying, oh, it didn't work out,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah. Or they cannot tell me because I know, like, and they know this too, that they can't say I didn't try, you know? And I think
Okay,
for
right.
every person who goes through this, man or woman, they do try a lot. Um, and it is so confusing that even explaining it to someone, it's like, even if you don't understand it yourself. So it's really hard to get someone else to
Hmm.
understand. But at least they can empathize with you that whatever you went through, it wasn't normal. Whatever you went through, it was not normal. At least they could understand that. I think anyone, no matter what generation you're from, if they hear how a toxic or narcissistic person is, they will understand that that's not normal. And at least you, at the
And
end
I
of the
think
day, you'll have
generally,
peace.
and I think generally we just lack empathy. Uh, I I feel that if I'm not like if I'm not in your shoes and you're telling me, I shouldn't judge you. And women or men both should not be judged like, oh, you weren't trying enough, or you don't know how to control the person or understand the person. I think
Hmm.
I that's what I feel, that when you're married, when you truly tie the knot, you're not in for fun. Oh, okay, if
Yeah.
it doesn't work out,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
just for everyone, we marry out of love, right?
Hmm.
And we have kids and stuff,
Hmm.
and it's just like, I think even men, they really try till the really end, when till they're like, okay, we have to split. And I feel
Yeah.
people, it's just a taboo still, and especially in Muslim communities. Oh, you can't be divorced. Why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why can you say to a person that uh, you should still try more, or no, 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 you won't get married, or you have
Hmm.
kids? Why you say
Hmm.
that to people? You don't even know what pain they went through. And
Exactly.
I just feel that empathy has generally just finished, because we just become so judgmental. And it's like, just like what's happening in US right now, you know
Yeah. Yeah.
and
It's insane what's going
you know
on right now.
I moved in USA, and I lived there for 7 years. And one of the biggest eye opener for me, that I hated it in the beginning. I really hated it, coming from this culture where you meet people, you're always
Hmm.
into people. I was left alone there, and slowly, because I didn't come back 7 years at all, so it was just USA 7 years.
Hmm.
The thing that I learned was, those people have so much empathy for you. They will sit and listen. If you say, can you just sit and listen, they will actually listen without judging. And people like that actually help you reflect on your own self. When you tell that story and then you come back and you're like, now that I was telling her this story, you know what? I can see my own mistakes,
Hmm.
right?
Yes, that's very true. Yeah. I think having someone to just listen to you and not tell you any advice, not tell you how to fix things, just to listen to you is one of the biggest gifts because
Very powerful.
that's all you need sometimes.
Oh, my son just woke up. So where are you right now? Like, as far as your journey is concerned, are you married? Are you with someone? Or
I'm not married. I am in the process of looking again, and I'm hopeful for the future. And
okay,
yeah, so I feel really happy right now, and it's a wonderful feeling. And I could tell, Alhamdulillah, I recognize my blessings that, I don't have any link to my past, but I keep a link in that I always talk about it because if I could help
mm-hmm.
anybody, in any small way that I can, I would try to do that. Um, but again, I don't want to forget about that or say, oh, I don't want to remember my past. What is done is done. No, I always keep that experience as a part of who I am today. And but alhamdulillah, right now I am happy, and that's kind of my goal. I feel like I have a new look on life, and I have this. I'm so excited to make connections with people and talk to people
Mm-hmm.
about life in general, and just don't let anyone shut you out or shut your voice, because that's what makes you, you know, that's all you have. So enjoy your life. Don't let anyone take that away from you.
All right, right. That's beautifully put by you. And one last question before we start to wrap up. Do you think that because we are Muslims, do you think that when you're suffering, and it can be anything, I can tell you that I lost a baby. She lived for 6 days, and that's a whole lot of healing, physical and emotional and spiritual. I think that's my personal experience. I felt that if I didn't have God to lean on, I don't know where I would have been, because that was the one place where I could say anything and everything, like I'm hurt or whatever, and He won't judge me, and He would listen to me. So, do you think that God played a big role in your healing and in all of that for
Uh,
you?
yes, definitely. I think one of like for me, one of the biggest blessings I felt was the day I left. I sat on the airplane and I sat on the flight, and it it was like I booked that flight that day. Or actually, my parents booked it for me that day. And I had like a whole row to myself. And I was like, oh wow, that doesn't happen often. And I felt like, okay, I have to brace myself for heartbreak. Like I'm gonna brace myself. I'm probably gonna cry my eyes out. But I kid you not, like as soon as the plane went off, like I felt so much peace, and I felt instantly, I felt like I'm talking to Allah, like I'm talking to God, and He's just there with me, and He's like comforting
Mm-hmm.
me, and I did not even like cry, or I just felt peace. And so to anyone who has like,
You were
everyone
done with the
has
crying.
yeah, exactly. And it's like everyone has a spiritual connection. I think one of the biggest things with our community is we take away people's connection with Allah by putting our own voices. When someone is suffering, we say Allah's punishing you, or you must have done something
Yes.
wrong, or something. That happened a lot to me, like when I was in that bad place, and that actually messed up my connection with Allah. It made me further away. And when I left, that's
Mm-hmm.
when I felt like I found Allah again. And He was like, I'm here for you. Like everything, we forget how much Allah loves us, you know? And so don't let anyone ever make you doubt that Allah loves you. You can be suffering so much. Like even when I had the miscarriage and stuff, I thought Allah doesn't hate me. Like I wanted this thing so bad, but Allah took it away
Mm-hmm.
from me. But I didn't think Allah hates me because of that. I knew, like even if I didn't know at that moment, I knew He knows what He's doing, you know? So I think
Right.
that's the thing that, like you said, you can tell Allah anything, have an open conversation to Allah, like even your faults, your the things, even if you hate a person, tell Allah about it instead of telling someone else, you know?
Right.
So be open
Yeah.
with Allah. Allah knows everything in your heart, so He's there for you.
Allah already knows it. So if you express it and tell Him, uh, it doesn't really, it actually helps you.
It
Even
helps
if
you,
you
yeah,
say no to Allah and admit it, I think it helps you recover from it faster than
yeah,
being feeling ashamed that I don't want to talk in front of Allah. Oh,
yeah.
but Allah already knows.
Yeah,
So,
I
so
think
you can
that's the thing
tell
because
Him.
when you talk to like Muslim people or people who are you consider religious, pious, or you feel like, oh, let me go to this person to an advice to get an advice. The reaction you get from them, you think maybe Allah thinks of me like that, but Allah doesn't. You know, that's
You're
one
like,
of the
oh.
things. Yeah, like Allah's not gonna judge you. Allah loves us, and He knows. Those people don't know what you went through. He doesn't. They don't know how much heart and soul you gave, and how much you endured, how much you were patient. Only Allah knows that. So.
Mhm. Okay. And before we wrap up, uh, I want you to tell people that you are an amazing artist. and a
Thank you.
photographer, and you
Thanks.
do really nice henna.
Oh yes, I'm getting into that. Yeah.
So is that going to be your profession, or you just do it? Um,
Those are my hobbies. I love them, but I
uh,
kind of keep them just for hobbies.
wow, they're wonderful hobbies. You're really good at that.
Thank you so much.
Okay, guys, I think we're going to wrap up now. I want to thank you once again for seriously for coming on board, and it
Oh,
it gives a lot of people out there a lot of strength, and I think you're very strong to come out and
thanks.
speak about it with people. And you know, some people don't want to talk about their stories; it makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But you stepped on right away, and you said, you know, I want to share my story if it helps, Mevish. And I really want to thank you for that, because when you share your story, the impact it can have on Muslims, especially, it's going to be huge. And now I see a lot of people are starting to come in when we're wrapping up, but but uh, I think that that's very brave of you, and I
Thank you.
hope that more women can come forward and share their story, so that we can um, educate women and let them know that, you know, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with you,
Yeah.
and
There's nothing wrong with
there
you.
is this daughter out there.
Yeah. And I want to say thank you for all of the content that you post. Like as soon as I saw your page, like it just honestly all of it helps so much. And I love the work that you do. And so that's why I keep following all of your stuff. And it's just I was so excited when you
Thank
told
you.
me that we should, talk. And I feel like if I could tell anyone who's going through anything, or even if they've healed, I would say talk about it, because silence is like it it
Killer, a bigger
perpetuates
killer.
what's going on. If you don't talk about it, then like it will just keep happening. And the reason it has been happening for so long is because people get shamed and people get silenced. So use your voice, and I love what you do. So
And do you think that if we don't talk about it, uh, we would, like, there was a saying, I don't know how it goes, but it's like, if you don't talk about your past, and by past I mean something bad that you've been through, you're gonna bleed on the wrong person, because basically you didn't heal.
yeah,
So, so, and I heard, I follow this therapist, and she said, listen, you got hurt, whether it's a heartbreak, whether it's financially, whether any kind of, it's just like, you know, you get a cut on your hand, and you
hmm,
just put a tissue paper on it, and you ignore it for the rest of your life.
yeah,
That wound is just going to stay there, you know, or
yeah,
it's going to get infected or something, and it's going to cause a bigger problem. So when you get a cut, you need to address it, you need to take care of the wound. So is emotional pain and
yeah,
psychological pain. So you need to address it and talk about it. And I think I've read so much about it. I think people who are shaming you, you should just ignore it and keep on voicing, like you said, voice yourself.
hmm,
Uh, because we need to fight oppression in any case.
yeah,
We're Muslims, and we need to be, you know, voicing ourselves and fighting and standing with each other. So, like you said, use your voice, and if one side doesn't hear your story, understand, you'll find people who would understand your story
yeah,
and stand with you, right?
yeah, exactly. And once you find those people, you will feel so happy and so like your voice will be important. And it doesn't matter where oppression is happening. It can be happening in the home, it can be happening in the streets. But your voice matters, because that's all we have sometimes against oppression.
Right, right. Thank you so much once again. I have a lot of people over
Mm.
here who are wishing you good luck, and who are
Thank you
telling
to
you that you're
everybody. Oh,
amazing, and they're really happy that you came forward and you shared your journey.
oh,
Um, and I have somebody who was saying that he went through it, and I'm sorry. I hope you're in a better place now in your
inshallah.
life. And thank you so much once again. And I
Thank
hope to
you.
reconnect with you again. And take
Inshallah.
care and
Yes.
stay safe.
You too. Thank you so much for having me.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed listening, and it was helpful. And if you want to share your story, please inbox me. If you have any questions, you can always inbox me again, and I can direct you to some great therapists out there. And stay safe. And I'm out now. Bye bye.